Hey everyone, today is day 3 of my special 31 Days of Halloween, and today I'm going to review the werewolf figure from the 1997 McFarlane's Monsters line. This set came out as part of the Series 1 figures of the McFarlane's Monsters line, and here's a look at the front of the package. On the front left part, we can see the McFarlane's Monsters logo and also a small picture of the completed set. In the middle of the package, we can see all of the parts that make up this set. We can see the werewolf, the Woodsman and some of his limbs and rifle, as well as the tree and the hill for the diorama. The side of the package has the McFarlane's Toys logo, the name of the playset, and we can see that this toy was part of the Series 1 line. The back of the package has all the other toys in the series, and these are the Hunchback playset, the Werewolf playset, the Dracula playset, and the Frankenstein playset. All of these came out way back in 1997, and I got this one in particular at KB Toys, which was a toy store similar to Toys R Us for a retail price of $12.99. And here are all of the pieces that come in the package. We can see all of the parts that make up the Hunter, which for some reason they named Steve in the back of the package and also in the instructions. If I remember correctly, Steve was the name of one of the employees who worked for McFarlane Toys. Here's a quick look at the assembly instructions, and it's a pretty straightforward set to build. There's only 2 pieces for the actual diorama, and the rest are parts for the Woodsman Steve. Here's a look at the trunk of the tree. It has a really great sculpt, and it looks pretty great. I really like the paint job that was done to it as well. The other part of the diorama is the actual trail or woods part for the floor. It also has some great details, like some bones on the floor, all the foliage around the stones, and the trail. And there's even a tombstone on the side that reads, "Richard, he deserved what he got." This inscription was never explained by McFarlane on the toy or in any of the articles I've read about this toy, but I think it fits the overall theme of the playset. To attach the tree, you simply insert it on the tabs located on the tree stump. And here's a look at the actual werewolf. This is a really great depiction of a werewolf where we see more of an animal than the typical humanoid creatures from the Universal movies. The figure has an exaggerated body where you can see giant claws for hands and a slightly hunched pose for the figure. There are some nice details for the fur, and only the ripped shirt and the super tight pants give us a hint that this creature was once a man. The face of the figure looks really good, and I think that this particular figure is my favorite from the 4 sets of the Series 1 line. Even considering that these figures have limited articulation, McFarlane's Toys always had great sculpts, and this figure is no different. I especially like the claws and the feet of the creature. The figure has some limited articulation, and basically he can move his head from side to side, he can raise and lower his arms, he can twist at the waist, and his legs can rotate. However, you can't really pose the legs much without having the figure topple over. The other figure in the set is the Woodsman or the Hunter, and I'm not too crazy about the figure when it comes to the way it looks, but he does serve his purpose. You do have to assemble the figure since he comes with detachable arms, a detachable head, and part of his left leg also pulls apart. The figure has a wash effect on his clothes to make him look all muddy. One thing I don't like is that his head doesn't really have a way to stay put on the figure's head. It basically just stays on top, but there's no way to have the figure actually wear this item properly on his head. Another knock on the figure is the huge rifle that he carries. It's way too big for him, and he can't really hold it properly. At least it's nicely detailed and has some nice paint effects done in silver and brown. Speaking of the Woodsman Steve, he has some basic articulation. He can rotate his head, he can also raise and lower his arms, He can twist at the waist, and his left leg can also rotate. Like I said, you can remove several of his body parts, and I do like the fact that you can see a bony structure when you remove his arms or his leg. It's a pretty cool touch, and it shows that the designers had a sense of humor when they created this set. There is a play feature included in this tree, and that is that you can store the whole figure or even parts of the figure inside of the trunk. It's a cool feature that works remarkably well, and you can set up your hunter inside to pretend that he's hiding from the creature, or you can have the werewolf dismember Steve and just attach his body parts inside of the tree as a sort of trophy. Overall, I think that this is a really great diorama set. I think that the completed diorama looks really awesome once you put all of the elements together, and there are enough options to create a small variety of settings for the figures. You can even hide the body parts of the figure in the back of the diorama, since there's a hole underneath the floor where you can stash the dismembered figure. Anyway, that is it for my review. I hope you enjoyed this video, and come back tomorrow for another spooky review for my 31 Days of Halloween special. Until next time, take it easy.